All right, everyone. Hey, this is Rick Kaufman with the Kels Group, aka the Drowning Warriors. It is January 17th. Can you say the first month of the new year is half over? Where has the first couple weeks gone? Well, we did spend a few days in the great state of Connecticut. We're going to follow up to a previous podcast about what we did here on January 6th, and we went to visit a live demo. So I'm going to give you my take on that, and we'll make sure we have links to their website and their information because it was just, not only was it a great trip, a good time just to get away, but and the weather treated us well along the way. But at the same time, the information, the technology, and the safety, and then we can discuss risk and all those other things. But before we do get into all that, if you're an aquatics professional, I want you to ask yourself, or I'm going to ask you a question. And that question is when you go to work each and every day, what is your biggest fear that you have? Okay? I want you to take a second and think about that. What is your biggest fear? And if somebody says they don't have one, well, I'm sure you do. But when you are talking about your job in around a pool deck, water safety, whatever that is, swim lessons, what is the biggest fear that you have? And then the other part of that question I want you to think about is, if you had a way to mitigate that risk or mitigate your fear around that pool, would that interest you? Would you want to know about that? Well, that's what this podcast is about. And I'm also going to take a few minutes. My wife is going to talk also and give you her opinion as a mother. Okay. And what she feels, and because most people who know me know my story, and I want to make sure that you also get her take on this too. So this is going to be a very interesting show, big show, I feel, and really setting up the highlight for the 2019 as far as water safety, drowning prevention in our book. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and cue the music. Grab your cup of coffee, water, whatever your favorite beverage might be right now. If you're driving down the road, crank it up, and let's go ahead and cue the music, maestro. Hello, I'm Rick Kaufman. I'm part of a new breed of people. We call ourselves the Drowning Warriors. We have a voice for those who no longer have a voice, and for those that do have a voice, we project it as loud as we can, because what we know can and does save lives. We wage war every day with people that just don't believe that it can happen to them. We must do things differently. We take massive action as a team. We must do things smarter. We must also be effective with our message from day one. You see, the average person does not believe that it can happen to them, but yet it happens every day. Drowning does not discriminate. It has no boundaries. It is fast. It is silent. It hits when you least expect it. So we fight every day to be heard, to get our messages out to the masses. We are the Drowning Warriors, and these are our stories. All right, everyone. Hey, welcome to Thursday, January 17th, right? Hopefully you've all had a great start to the new year. I know we have been extremely busy, just crazy busy, on the phones, talking to people, making new relationships, setting up dates and shows and talks, and we're going to be all over the map. So hopefully you'll be following us on that journey. So, hey, in the meantime, let's talk about the journey we just took here the other day. And we left here on January 5th, and we jumped into a car. How many of you have a wife or a spouse who, when they pack to go away for a few days, it's like you're packing to go away for weeks, and basically you take everything but maybe the kitchen sink or something. I don't know. You would think that it that would all be good from the standpoint of just pack a few things, throw it in a bag, make sure you got your toothbrush, razor, things like that, and maybe a change of clothes, and maybe a couple pairs of change of clothes. and just jump in the car and go. But no, we have to go to the grocery store. We have to pack not only just one bag, but 2 or 3 bags. We've got to take a couple hangers of clothes. We've got food out the wazoo, drinks, and because we're going to be snacking and munching and eating and making sandwiches and just kind of having a really nice little trip. But anyways, I get on my soapbox here a little bit. But what I'm getting at here is how many of you have taken a trip like that where you're just going away for a few days and it seems like you're taking everything in the house. We not only had to put our dogs in doggy daycare for the first time ever, but which was a stressful time, I think, for my wife more so than me. I kind of enjoyed that. But anyways, I know you didn't tune into this podcast to listen to me about our methods of packing, but I just kind of wanted to make light of that. But we were invited out to Connecticut, to Bristol, Connecticut to be exact, to aquatics facility there. And we were to attend a live demonstration. The live demonstration is with a company called The Wave. They have a system. It's a drowning detection, okay? And let me just put it to you like this. The Wave drowning detection system monitors how much time each child spends underwater, alerting your team at the first sign of danger, okay? Obviously, people might say try to get a mental picture around that. So I'm going to try to do my best here while you're listening to this. If you really want to get a visual picture of what this might look like, go to our website. We'll have links to their website there where you can view that. But if you want to just know, it's actually www.wavedds. That's WAVEDDS.com. Okay, but we will make sure we have links to that. That's really the next generation deserves the next generation of aquatic safety. And here's why that, I really, if you haven't heard me say this before, I'm going to say this again. My daughter drowned over 25 years ago, in a public pool, 8 feet away from a lifeguard. Okay, and we're not going to get into debates on all the things that were around that. It's all said and done. It happened. Okay, it's all you need to know. But the technology exists today. The technology is in our hands. It is here that would have prevented my daughter's drowning. Not only just my daughter's drowning, but would prevent every drowning. Okay. And, drowning of the world's best swimmers, people who can't swim, people that might be out in a lake, out in an ocean, wherever they may be, this technology works. That is what really impresses me. Okay, when I look at most technologies that is available, it's very linear. It works in one place only. Okay. Now, let me just also say this. This does not replace any human element in any shape or form when it comes to water safety. Obviously, we have to, follow our ABCs. We obviously have to have layers of protection in place. We have to have everything that we have done before in the past or currently doing or we should be doing that we're not, okay? We need to learn to swim at the earliest age, okay? We need to be vigilant. We need to look in the pool before we look anyplace else. We need to have pool fences around our pool. We need to have door and window alarms, barricade or close off doggy doors or any entry to a pool area from the home. We need to make sure that our public pools are adequately staffed and not overcrowded, that the lifeguards are properly trained and in all areas, that all the safety equipment is present and they are properly trained. Then we go into the unguarded public pools, okay, or lakes, like here in Ohio, our state parks have no lifeguards. It's swim at your own risk, which is very similar to what you would see if you visited a motel. Swim at your own risk. This technology would work there also. And So from that standpoint, I mean, why wouldn't you? So when, I asked you a question in the beginning, what is your, biggest fear or your concern when it comes to water safety? And I believe that you would have to answer that somebody would drown while they are on your watch. Okay. We've seen in the news media, high school coaches, okay, that are, have, maybe two coaches or more possibly in the pool with maybe 20, 30, athletes, swimmers. Okay. These are swimmers that are trained to swim, that know how to swim, where they have been children drowned because it's not in their budget and there is no guidelines or state guidelines or laws that says there must be a lifeguard on duty at the time. That the coaches are basically not only the coach, and they're there to teach. And if you've been a coach like I've been a coach, I coached varsity soccer, and I've coached everything from little kids all the way up to the collegiate level. And so from that standpoint, it's you have a team of 30 players. One player needs, maybe one or two players need some individual instruction or individual coaching. So you send the other players to run laps or run a drill or do something as a group. Okay? All right. Now, if they're running laps, they're running laps. Okay? No different if they're swimming laps and swimming in their lanes or doing whatever they're doing. But as a coach, I'm putting my attention to the one that I'm talking. And unfortunately, children have drowned in that exact scenario, just as I just explained it. Children have drowned, and if you were a coach, you potentially would be held liable for that accident. And again, you're not afforded lifeguards as a backup to help you watch the other kids while you were busy coaching. So what do you do about that? All right. And if you're a swim teacher, we had an accident just this past summer in Dayton, Ohio. A 6-year-old boy was swimming with some other. It was a group lesson there was 2 instructors in the pool, and the boy drowned in the deep end of the pool while there was active swim lessons going on. And the grandfather was asked by the swim instructor to go check the locker room, the restroom. He wasn't there. They looked elsewhere instead of checking the pool first. Let me just ask you a question. If there would have been an alarm system or something in place that would have alerted somebody, not only just by a audible alarm and a visual alarm like a strobe, but also a wearable device on your wrist that would vibrate, letting you know that you have a swimmer at risk of drowning, would that make your life easier? Okay? And you would hope it would never happen. And maybe for the most part it wouldn't. But, when we're seeing dwindling numbers in the aquatics industry, leaving the industry, quality people, good people that are here to do the best job possibly, but they are not afforded the resources and the tools and possibly to be able to do their job. But now they are putting their whole entire livelihood at risk. And not only is it just that, but they're also their family's livelihood, everything about what they do, because, they have a pure joy, pure love for the sport and what it is that they do. But, they also don't want to be faced with the reality of what could possibly happen. And so they are choosing to possibly leave this industry. Okay. Very sad, and which also puts more children at risk. Okay. Just like the lifeguard shortage has put more people at risk. The same can be said that it's going to just carry over into other areas of the aquatics. Okay. We need to put a stop to it. Number one. How you do that, that's not, my forte. But I will say this. If I was a coach or an aquatics director who ran a pool, ran a swim team, ran a swim school, I would do everything in my power to mitigate the risk and the cost of the protection is a fraction of the cost of not only losing a life, but also the damage that it does, the indirect, or in the military we would call it collateral damage. Okay, and in this case, a drowning has collateral damage, and there are many, many lives that are affected. Okay, not in a positive way, even in a non-fatal drowning situation. Okay, there's collateral damage. So we can change that. Okay, and I basically, I'm sitting here right now recording this, and I'm endorsing. Okay, I endorse 120% of the wave system because it completely, solves the problem. Okay, what I saw at this live demonstration answered my questions. Okay, when I started talking with Dave and Mark over just about a year ago in February of last year, when they explained to me their technology and how it worked, I was sold then. I was ready to jump in my car and come and say, hey, let's sit down, show this to me. I want to see it. But, it was a work in progress, and they had to kind of slow me down. And so, I've had him as a guest on my podcast. It's episode 18, if you want to go back and listen to that episode. I've also, I don't have that episode number in front of me, but I will make sure that I have that also. Jamie Clout, who is the aquatics director of the pool in Bristol, Connecticut, where this live demo was put on, is very familiar with the product. And consequently, it's funny how things come together. I had met Dave through LinkedIn, and his co-founder, Mark, Karen, through LinkedIn, and had no idea that Jamie also was aware of Dave and Mark and the wave system. And consequently, about a couple months later, Jamie was a guest on my podcast also, as to talk to us from the standpoint of an aquatics director, somebody who actually runs a pool. And towards the end of that podcast, I think I brought up, or I'm pretty sure I brought it up, and I talked about the technology end of things. And she was the first aquatics professional I ran into that I've talked to that was aware of that. So she sees the importance of that. And so she supported this live demo also, and was gracious enough to open the pool up to allow them to put on this demonstration for not just myself and my wife, but for several other people in and around, and families and people that support aquatics and swim teachers and coaches and whatnot. So, I just wanted to speak from my frame of mind, where I'm coming from on this, because this, is a game changer. Technology is here. Whether or not you like it or you don't, it's here. Technology has improved safety in cars, car seats. Mothers Against Drunk Driving has embraced technology to put a stop to, drunk drivers getting behind the wheel. Cancer, to fight the disease of cancer. There's technology at work and at play constantly to improve and decrease the numbers of people losing their life, to cancer and alike. And, but there's many other technologies also. Okay. There's other types of drowning detection. I would recommend, to not only look at the wave system, but also seek out all the others also that are on the forefront of drowning technology, because everybody's situation is different. The Wave has concentrated their efforts on the commercial market at the present time, and they are in development and working towards a home-based system also, to where it can be much more affordable. What I would really love to see now, I'm not a developer, and I don't know what all is, it's just like I could probably make something out of a cardboard box and cut it up and say, okay, this is what it looks like. But other than that's the extent, it would not be a functionable thing. But what I would really love to see happen and develop is this technology that they have in their hands, is develop that into a home-based system where a family of, say, 4 or 5 can buy a system where every person would have this, and it would be linked to the smartphone or smart technology, and it would be portable. It would go. So mom and dad could not only have this for their backyard pool, they could take it to the beach, to the lake, to the pond, to the boat. The child goes to swim lessons at the local Y or the local pool. They can take it there. Even if they have their own drowning detection technology in place, they could do that also, where they would be able to all have their own redundancies and backups, not only to their systems and to their lifeguards, because we hear horror stories of mothers running into a pool because their child is sitting on the ledge of a pool while the swim coach or the swim instructor is teaching another child in a small group session, and the child falls in unbeknownst to the coach or the lifeguard or anybody present, and the mother runs in seconds later pulling their child out. Okay. And why would you not want to learn more about something like this? Okay. Not only, and as mothers, okay, and fathers, but I think mothers, are much more vocal than fathers. Okay. I'm one of the few fathers, I think, that are out here on the water safety drowning prevention front. But for the most part, mothers can, they're there in your face, because that's their child. They don't mess around. And so, so what we're going to do here, I'm going to go, my wife is going to come on, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about, her opinion on the drowning technology, the drowning, and what she saw and what she learned. And then we'll wrap this show up, and we'll make sure, again, we'll have all the show notes and everything. So, so just stand by here, and we will get my wife on here, and we'll let her tell you her side and her take on it. And trust me, I have not coached her in what to say or what not to say. She's going to speak from her heart. Okay. And in some cases, I don't even know what she's going to say. I think I know, but again, I don't know. So let's go ahead and, let's listen to what my wife has to say. Okay, everyone. Hey, I have my wife, Lori, is here, along with our 2 doggy daycare who are no longer in doggy daycare. Jax is, was, looking at the microphone like he wants to eat the thing. And Shelby's over there looking at us like we're really just strange, but I think she's going to go back to sleep. But anyways, Lori is here to give you her take on the water safety and drowning prevention when it comes to drowning detection technology. And basically what I kind of shared with you there, but this is going to be in her words. So, Lori, the microphone and the show is all yours.
Thanks, hon. Yeah, this is Lori. When Rick approached me with going to Connecticut to view the live demonstration on the wave, I was all for it. There's way too many people out there that are drowning because they don't know how to swim, or something happens, like me. I didn't drown, but I can't swim. And when they was showing how this worked, it is just fantastic. It's almost beyond words. There, to me, is no reason why any public pool does not have some kind of technology like this to help save lives. I mean, even if it's a swim team match, the contestants, or whatever you want to call them, need to have these on. You could get a Charlie horse or something and end up in the bottom of the pool and couldn't get out. It is just a fantastic, I can't stress that enough, fantastic invention in technology to help save people's lives when they're swimming.
If you notice, Lori doesn't have the technology as far as the what. In other words, they're not contestants; they're swimmers, honey.
I know. Blonde moment.
Anyways, hey, but that's why I think you're hearing what she's having to say about this. When you saw the demonstration, Lori, what was your what was your first impression? I mean, well, first of all, give me your first impression of what you thought you might, or what you was going to see, and then maybe what your impression was after you actually saw this. Because, I mean, I know you're saying, hey, you don't understand why people wouldn't want this technology in their pool, but you're a mother of children and grandchildren, and if you were to be speaking to a mother, or maybe speaking to an aquatics professional as a mother, of why you feel something like this is important, give us your opinion, and maybe before you saw this, the demonstration, and then maybe kind of like a before after type thing.
Well, before I saw the demonstration, I knew that there needed to be something out there to help to get the swimmers to be able to get in and out of the pool and function without being at risk to drown for any circumstance. After I saw it, I thought, this is a no-brainer. This is just what they need. They need to have technology like this, and the headband that they have, to me, that's a minor thing. If someone has some kind of reason why they don't want to use the headband or whatever, they have goggles and other things too that can still detect them in the water for however many seconds they're underwater, how it's set.
Yeah, I mean, what Lori's referring to, and we'll make sure we have links on our show notes to the website. The technology, basically, it's a Bluetooth technology, and when the system, there's a headband, that they can wear. When it breaks the plane of water, it loses its signal. And when it loses its signal, it basically starts a countdown timer on. So if you had 25 swimmers, 50 swimmers, or 100 swimmers, it's tracking each and every swimmer in the pool. And I think what's really interesting about this is not only from a drowning detection, but there may be other applications to this technology to come. What that is, I can't really speak about because I'm not sure, but I can see other applications. They're talking also about GPS locator, especially if they're in open water and somebody's under the surface of water. If you're a rescue person, you know the importance of being able to find somebody who's under the water, especially in cloudy, murky water that you can't see, but maybe a few inches or a few feet in front of your face. So I think the technology is here, and what they're going to be doing is going to be just an important aspect to overall water safety, drowning prevention. And what do you say as a mother? Especially, if our children, I mean, would you want to see this, whether or not it be the wave system or any type of technology, would you want to see this technology being used in our pools or the pools that our grandchildren go to?
Yes, I would. I'm a mother, grandmother, aunt, great aunt, I'm old, and I can't swim. So it would just be absolutely fantastic. Because when I go to the pool and watch the kids or something, I'm always afraid something will happen. I can work on them after somebody gets them to me, but I can't get in the water to go get them if they're very deep.
Yeah, and that brings up a whole nother aspect of water safety, especially when you talk about water watchers. And like I said earlier in the podcast, this technology, or any technology for that matter, does not replace the human element. The ABCs of, adult supervision, barriers, and classes. In other words, so make sure you have your layers of protection and your barriers, and that you have adult supervision, and parents keep young children on arm's length away. Don't use blow up floaties. Get to them early swim lessons, and then make sure and know those things, and know your CPR. So this does not replace anything that's currently out there now, and if anything, I believe it probably emphasizes the importance of learning to swim and the importance of everything else that goes hand in hand with the water safety. This is just kind of like a security blanket, the way I see it. Or, we put baby monitors in baby rooms with cameras. So why do we do that? Because as concerned parents, we want to be able to monitor our children and make sure that they're safe and then that they don't, injure themselves, or we see something happen that we can respond to that. This technology is no different than that. Would you agree?
I would agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, we just want what's best for our kids so that way we can have them around forever. It makes me feel more at ease to think that there's something out there like this that will help out. I mean, even experienced swimmers can have leg cramps or something. So this would still be helpful for them too.
Yeah. And she summed it up real well. Experienced swimmers. And we've had experienced swimmers on this podcast who have talked about marathon swimming, people that have swam the English Channel, who have swam, Hudson Bay around New York City, whatever, and have found themselves in situations where, if there would not have been other people around, or maybe in a panic situation, but because they are trained professionals, they were able to recognize that and respond to it correctly before something happens. But again, they find themselves in this situation. So it can happen when you least expect it. Okay, drowning shows up; it does not discriminate, and so make sure that if you want to learn more about this technology, check out our website at thekelsgroup.com and make sure that you look at the WAVE system, which is www.wavedds.com, which is WAVEDDS.com, and we will have the links there. Reach out to them. If you want to learn more, I'm not the expert on the technology. Lori's not the expert.
No.
We are just average moms and dads that's on a mission. Okay, we're on a mission, and we want to help not only the business end of things, but we want to also bring the technology to the forefront because it is here. We need to embrace it. We need to utilize it as one of those layers of protection. It is just as important as any other layer, and be able to utilize all these things together, we could save so many more lives. And early detection, early notification, seconds count. And just like I said in the beginning, this puts a stopwatch on every swimmer. I think is, if we could do that, if you were a swim coach, if you're a swim school, aquatics director, why would you not want this in your pool? And obviously somebody might say, well, Rick, it's money. Well, you know what? Money is a problem that can be solved. So if you want to know how to solve that problem, that's something that we work into. So, hey, email me at rick@thekelsgroup.com and we can talk about that aspect of things. So with that being said, we appreciate your time. And again, make sure you get over to thekelsgroup.com and subscribe to our podcast, also via Apple Podcast and Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and Stitcher Radio, and Google Podcasts, and I'm sure there's others if I'm forgetting them. And I want to give a shout out right now to some listeners. We are a top-ranked podcast in Norway, and also to a new company that just reached out that found us via our podcast. Is a company called Blue Fox, Deep Blue. Okay, Blue Fox in Sweden of all places. And they also are a drowning detection company and are doing some great things in Europe and Norway and in Australia, and also heading into Japan. They're not currently in the United States yet, but we are looking forward to learning more about them and their products and what they may be able to offer also in this area of drowning detection. So with that being said, Heinz, if you're listening, I really enjoyed our talk the other day, and I just wanted to give you a shout out and give you a little plug there. So we'll also put a link to his website in our show notes, so if you want to learn a little bit more about what he has to offer. So with that being said, you guys are awesome. Keep up the good work, and we will talk to you next week with another episode of the Drowning Warrior Weekly Spotlight. Hey, say bye, Lori.
Bye, Lori. Have a good week.
Okay, see you guys.